Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Wan Muhammad Amir Zabi Azmi. So in this video, our group will present about theory of the formation of ocean. In this video, there are 3 questions that my group will elaborate. That is, what are the different theories that describe the formation of ocean? Second, describe the ocean zones based on their depth from the surface, and what are narrative oceanic zones and intertidal zones.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Ahmad Iskandar bin Zulbiri. My number metric card is 2210441. Okay, today I want to talk about the theories of the formation of the ocean. Okay, based on the theories of ocean formation, it is believed that the ocean will form gradually over millions and millions of years. The most widely accepted theory is that the ocean were created by volcanic activity that release water vapor into the atmosphere, which then condense and form the ocean. Carbonaceous chondrites is also the theory, which meteorites that contain a lot of water catapulting into the surface of the earth after it cooled down. This distributed water in large amount to the earth, which eventually made up the ocean. Okay, this is my model. Okay, my model of the ocean of the zone is a great way to visualize the different layers of the zone. The different zones are classified based on their depths and the amount of light that penetrate them. The 5 main zones are the epipelagic zone, mesopelagic zone, bathypelagic zone, abyssopelagic zone, and hadalpelagic zone. The epipelagic zone is the top layer of the ocean where sunlight can penetrate, while the hadalpelagic zone is the deepest layer of the ocean where no sunlight can reach. The different zones have unique characteristics and are home to different types of marine life.
Assalamualaikum, I'm 2210447, Muhammad Rajadin bin Nazaruddin, and today I would like to talk about our second theory. Our second theory is based on the meteorite theory. Well, from ages ago, when our Earth is just a lump of rock, there's a theory that states that a lot of meteorites came down crashing on our Earth. Well, this meteorite carries a lot of essential minerals like water and all sort of that minerals that keep crashing resulted in the creation of atmosphere. This atmosphere traps all of the water that was pulled down by our Earth, resulted in the formulation of the ocean. So based on the formula of the ocean, we can see that the ocean is divided by 5 stages or 5 layers, which is known as the sunlight, twilight, midnight, abyss, and the trenches. These 5 zones differentiate about the amount of sunlight that these animals are receive or are exposed. Where we can see that on top of the layer there's the jellyfish, shark, and plankton, which have the low exposure to the sun. Where this animal require constantly the energy and constantly the food nutrition that it requires, like they eat like some sort of plants, like the plankton eats some sort of plants that are used for the plant that they need to use as a photosynthesis. The plant use photosynthesis, and the animal that live mostly on the sunlight zone used to be a herbivore type of animals. And when we come to the second layer, which known as crab and octopus, the twilight zone, the sunlight that the second layer receive will be reduced. And from the midnight zone, we can see that most of the midnight zone, the water is at pitch black. You can see that as an example of the animal at the midnight zone, there's the anglerfish, which has a light antenna which attracts its predator to come towards the animal. And then there's the beast, where mostly they are known as sea star and all of that sort of animals. And then lastly is the trenches, which is known as sea cucumber, liparid fish, which the trenches is known to be the most, has a lot of pressure for animals, so there won't be a lot of animals that will stay in the trenches because the amount of pressure that is constantly exerted at the bottom of the sea is very high. So from our model, we can clearly show that the type of animal and what kind of the ecosystem behavior that they are living in the ocean. That's all for me. I pass on to the next presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Rafi bin Shamsuri, matrix number 210486. So today I would like to provide the detail about the pressure, temperature and salinity characteristic of each ocean zone. As we know, we have 5 layer of ocean zone, and the first one is epipelagic zone. Alright, the pressure at the surface of the ocean is relatively low, close to atmospheric pressure, and the temperature varies with location and season but generally range from around 20 Celsius in tropical areas to cooler temperatures in higher latitude. And the salinity is relatively stable in this zone with an average of about 35 parts per thousand ppt, meaning about 35 grams of salt per kilogram of seawater. Alright, next for the mesopelagic zone, which is twilight zone, pressure increased significantly with depth reaching around 40 to 50 times atmospheric pressure at the lower end of the zone. Temperature starts to decrease as you go deeper, usually range from about 4 Celsius to 10 Celsius, and the salinity remains relatively constant, similar to the epipelagic zone at around 35 ppt. Alright, the third one is the bathypelagic zone, which is midnight zone. The pressure increased dramatically, reaching 100 of time atmospheric pressure. At the lower end of the zone, the pressure can be around 1000 times atmospheric pressure. The temperature are consistently cold, typically ranging from just above freezing to about 4 Celsius, and the salinity remains relatively stable with a slight increase due to the cold temperature causing ice formation and salt expulsion. The next one is abyssopelagic zone, which is abyssal zone. The pressure continues to increase with depth, often exceeding 1000 times atmospheric pressure. Temperature are consistently cold, averaging around 2 Celsius, and the salinity levels tend to be higher than in shallower zone, sometimes reaching 36 ppt or more. This increase is due to the slow sinking of cold, dense water from the surface. And the last one is hadal pelagic zone. The pressure in the hadal zone is immense, reaching over 1000 times the atmospheric pressure. The temperature remain cold, hovering around freezing to a few degrees Celsius above freezing, and the salinity levels are influenced by local factors, but they are generally similar to those found in the abyssal zone. And the variation in pressure, temperature and salinity play a crucial role in shaping the characteristic of each ocean zone, including the type of organism that can thrive there and the unique adaptation they have developed to survive in this extreme condition.
Okay, the classification of ocean zone. First, epipelagic zone, or you know as sunlight zone. The depth is 0 to 200 meter. Characteristic: this zone receives the most sunlight and is therefore rich in marine life. Sunlight support photosynthesis, allowing plants and algae to thrive here. Organisms that live here is such as phytoplankton, zooplankton, fish, marine mammal, shark, and turtles. Second, mesopelagic zone, or known as twilight zone. Depth 200 to 1000 meter. The characteristic of this zone is sunlight is significantly dismissed and the water appear dark and blue. There are enough light for some vision, but not enough for photosynthesis to occur. The organisms that live at these zones, such as planktonfish, jellyfish, and squid. Thirdly, third layer, wetty pelagic zone or midnight zone. The depth is from 1000 to 4000 meters. Characteristic is sunlight does not penetrate this zone, making it most completely dark. The temperature drop significantly and pressure increase greatly. Organisms that live here, such as angelfish, coupler, eel, and deep sea creature. Next one, abyssal pelagic zone, abyssal zone. The depth starts from 4000 to 6000 meters. The characteristic of this zone is marked by extremely cold temperature and immense pressure. It remains in total darkness, and the water contains very little organic material. Organisms that live here, such as giant isopods, basket starfish, and various types of worms. And lastly, hadal pelagic zone, hadal zone, depth from 6,000 meters and below to the ocean's floor. The characteristic is the hadal pelagic zone includes the ocean trench, some of the deepest and least explored areas on Earth. Extremely condition of pressure, cold, and complete darkness prevail here. Organisms that live here, such as amphibians, amphipods, snailfish, and microbial communities. That's all.
Hello, I am 2210495 Wan Muhammad Amir Zabazmi. So for my part, I will explain about the neritic, the oceanic and intertidal zone. So for the intertidal zone is the area where oceans meets the land between high and low tides. Intertidal zones exist anywhere the oceans meets the land, from steep rocky ledges to long, sloping sandy beaches and mud flats that can extend for hundreds of meters. Intertidal zone is divided into 4 physical divisions, that is spray zone, high intertidal zone, middle intertidal zone and low intertidal zone. For spray zone, dampened by ocean spray and high waves and is submerged only during very high tides or severe storms. And for high intertidal zone, floods during the peaks of daily high tides but remains dry for long stretches between high tides. It is inhabited by hardly sea life that can withstand pounding waves, such as barnacles, marine snails, mussels, limpets, shore crabs and hermit crabs. For middle intertidal zone, over which the tides ebb and flow twice a day, and which is inhabited by a greater variety of both plants and animals, including sea stars and anemones. And lastly, low intertidal zone, virtually always underwater except during the lowest of spring tides, life is more abundant there because of the protection provided by the water. Okay, for the oceanic zone is typically defined as the area of the ocean lying beyond the continental shelf, that is neritic zone, but operationally is often referred to as beginning where the water depth drop to below 200 meters, that is 660 feet seaward from the coast into the open oceans with its pelagic zones. It is the region of open sea beyond the edge of the continental shelf and includes 65% of the ocean's completely open water. The oceanic zone has a wide array of undersea terrain, including trenches that are often deeper than Mount Everest is tall, as well as deep sea volcanoes and basins. While it is often difficult for life to sustain itself in this type of environment, many species have adapted and thrive in the oceanic zone. Okay, for the neritic zone is the top ocean layer closest to the coastline and above the continental shelf. This zone extends from the intertidal zone between high and low tide, to the edge of the continental shelf of the ocean floor, where the shelf drops off, forming the continental slope. The neritic zone is shallow, reaching depth of about 200 meters, that is 660 feet. It is a subsection of the pelagic zone and includes the ocean's epipelagic zone, which lies with this photic or light zone. From a marine biology perspective, the neritic zone, also referred to as the coastal ocean, is located in the photic or sunlight zone. The availability of sunlight in these regions makes photosynthesis, which form the basic of ocean ecosystem, possible.